Hey, and welcome to another week of Libertarians at Large. My name is Eric Rautzep, and this is where we discuss the week in news and express a libertarian point of view on the goings-on in our nation and abroad. We welcome your comments and questions in the chat box, so feel free to comment regularly. We may share your comment on the air. This week, I'm joined with my fellow at-large members, Laura Ebke and Valerie Sarawak. How are you doing?
Good. Hey, Eric.
Good.
Oh, what a quick week. My goodness. It just kind of rock and rolled right over.
Yes.
But without further ado, our special guest this week is Avens O'Brien. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, making libertarianism look good.
That's what I try to do.
What all of the
But you do it
pictures all the pictures in our song are from Avens, aren't they?
I think
they are,
so.
actually. I think they are. I've pilfered them at will there.
I was too busy reading the clever descriptions of everybody to even notice the pictures because I'm like, whatever. Of course they're black and white photos. Of course they're mine.
Actually, some of them I Dan. Well, in the older version, when Dan Fishman was our moderator. His was a color picture that I actually made into black and white. So some of them may not be originally black and white.
Yeah, that happens.
Grayscaled out.
I typically shoot in black and white, but if I'm taking a picture outdoors, I'm more likely to do color photos. And people ask me for color photos, but people don't realize that when you're in a conference hall, when you're in a hotel conference area, they always have that kind of beige, yellowish sort of walls, and then you have terrible lights. And so people's skin color, their hair, everything looks gross. It's washed out. They do not look good. So people are I need a color photo. And I'm let's take it outside because I don't want to take this picture of you in color there. I want black and white because you look epic and you don't have that color blotchiness that's not good.
Hydrogen halogide bulbs are the worst, and that's what they always use in conference rooms. It's amazing.
And I only work with natural light, so I'm not carrying around a flash. I'm not setting up it's if I had to set up a photo booth, I wouldn't do it. That just wouldn't happen. So yeah, it's I have to work with what I've got. And so if the hotel does not provide me good stuff, then I'm gonna have to adjust.
So here's the question on everybody's mind. What are you shooting with now?
Actually, I've been shooting with the same camera for, when did I get this? I got this in 2017, I believe. So this is the Sony A7S. And so this is the camera body itself. Actually, okay, I'm not actually going to take this lens off. This lens is so heavy. There's so much glass in this lens. It's extremely heavy. This lens is a knockoff of it's a Chinese knockoff of a much more expensive lens. If I were to get this by Leica, it'd be a $10,000 lens. And instead, this is a $900 lens. But this lens has it has the ability to go really, really low, really wide so that I can bring in as much light as possible. So this is probably the second best low light settings I can get on a camera besides what my partner Judd has, which is the A7S II. And so his is even more full frame and full lighting. So it can just let in all this light with this camera and lens. And so I can shoot in the literal dark and it can look like it's daylight. The darker it is and the more I have to open the lens up, the more it's going to be grainy and stuff, but I still get fantastic photos from it. So it's very handy when we're at a bar or something and I want to get photos.
Well, and the Sony lenses that actually come from Sony are all Carl Zeiss glass, and that's some of the best lenses you can get.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, and the photo sensor on Sony's are also excellent.
It's nuts. It's insane. It's funny because I don't speak the lingo of camera stuff very often. It's that's Judd's thing. And then he basically goes, this is what you want. And I go, cool, awesome, thank you. And then I just for me, it's just I'm just gonna shoot you. I'm here for the interpersonal, hey Valerie, this is what I do is I have a conversation with somebody, I make them comfortable, and I take a photo. But the ISO on this can go up to 409,000, which if you're a camera person, you know that's insane. And if you're not, just know that, it's like nearly 500,000, that's a huge thing. Like,
and the f-stops on Sony's are also hyper accurate. I mean, I shoot with Canon, and
Yeah.
Canon, but I've been shooting on Canon since 35 millimeter film was a thing.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of the older lens mounts, and I've invested a lot into Canon. So changing out from Canon is difficult, but no, the Sony products are phenomenal.
The conversion is tough, but but I'm all about that mirrorless system. So I think Canon and Nikon are both working on mirrorless systems, or they just released them. But mirrorless just makes it like such a lighter weight camera, and it just makes it so much easier. Like when I go to take a photo, it actually shows up on the screen as I'm taking it. It just makes it like so much lighter and easier. So like I carry this around with me in my purse everywhere I go, and it means I actually take photos.
Yeah.
If you have a bunch of gear and it's really heavy, you're not going to take your camera out as much.
Well, and that's one of the reasons that actually I'm thinking about going over to a Blackmagic body, because Blackmagic uses the Canon mounts, so I can retain all my lenses, but actually go over to a mirrorless unit and still use all my equipment.
Just so you know, you can also get a converter.
The autofocuses and the quick changes usually just never work as easy.
That's the issue. I don't use autofocus at all. I manual focus all the way. I don't do autofocus at all. So every single shot I take, even like the active shots, like I'll be taking a picture of someone giving a speech or doing or running around like a band playing, anything. Like I love, like whenever we have like gala events at libertarian conferences, like there always is some point in which somebody grabs somebody else and goes like, let's dance. And you end up with like, the most random individuals like trying to get down. Like I have this random picture of like Bill Weld going like this. I have like Mary Ruart like spinning around at like the 2018 convention. Like I have all these random photos, and it's so hard because like people don't realize that I'm manually focusing. So like every shot, if they're moving towards me and then moving away, I'm going, I have to reshift this every time.
And that's why I'm 50-50. I'm 50% manual and 50% auto, because I'm just not that fast on the fly with my focus ring. It's just not there yet.
Well, that's me. That's what I do. That's my magic touch.
That's why you're Avens. There you go.
There are plenty of people taking autofocus shots. They can have that glory.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we geeked out.
We did. Sorry about that. The technical details there.
So Valerie, what do you use?
I use my Google Pixel 2 phone.
I use my iPhone 11.
And you get great shots on those too. So
Yeah, I think so far. I was talking to Nick about it. Like, my gift to him when we got engaged was an iPhone, and it was like the iPhone, right? And I had a pink razor, which you could barely take. I don't even remember if you could take a picture with it. So we're like,
it was a crappy picture. I have one photo on my Facebook that was taken with a razor phone.
And it's like super grainy. I think I have a picture of the dog, but that wasn't that long ago, right? Like how far technology has come, and free market, right?
Mm-hmm.
Capitalism.
Oh, wow.
Libertarian. Swarovski crystals.
No, it's nice that like camera phones have actually gotten like tremendously great. So I use my camera phone for a lot of shots that I just like. I mean, conferences I take like the professional photos, but like all my pet photos are taken with this because my birds freak out about the big camera. Like my bird's like, what the hell is that? I have to attack it. So.
And you do have a lot of great bird shots, I have to say.
I do. You know what's funny though is that nowadays these nice camera phones, they're starting to learn how to make depth of field. Like depth of field is a big thing that like you'll notice like a higher quality photo will have like the subject is like in focus and then things blur around it, right? And it's like a natural thing. And now our camera phones do it. They used to not. Like you used to be able to tell like a cell phone photo did not have like a depth of field. There was no like depth of field. It was just like, oh, there's a photo and everything's in focus. And now now it's funny because I'll be using my camera phone, and I just got a crested gecko, and I'll be trying to take a picture of her, and my phone tries to automatically focus the thing on and I want it to be her and like have her leaves out of focus, and unfortunately it'll be like, oh, this leaf is closer to the front of the camera, so that's what I want to focus. And I'm like, God fucking damn it. Sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on this program, but I did.
It's a wholesome.
We're wholesome.
Well, we're wholesome, but
Yeah, and I mean, I see that you shoot with the iPhone, and I shoot with the.
This is not an iPhone.
Oh, it isn't? Oh, I'm sorry. It looked like it when you were flashing it before. But I shoot with the Pixel 3, and one of the nice things about that is you can actually change what's in focus by just tapping on the screen real quick.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
I try to do that, but it's like so tight. At the end of the day, I'm just like, I just want to take it with this because it just.
Yeah.
Jared officially said that we have gotten rid of wholesome.
There goes the wholesome.
I mean,
lost it.
If I show up, it's not going to be wholesome programming.
The funny thing is, a lot of our guests say that, and then they turn out to be wholesome by the end. It's amazing.
Yeah,
we're good. We're really good.
You're good influence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, like, I could go that route, but no, it's a nice, lovely program where we just talk about nice things. I don't know. So why does it,
cameras, iPhone,
this week
whatever. Yeah.
The weather, food, whatever.
Yeah. We always have an interesting conversation about something. It's food, weather, cameras. Yeah, I mean, we've been very diverse. Very diverse.
That's good. Yeah. I will totally admit I haven't actually watched any of these before. I think I've occasionally, like, it shows up in my Facebook thing and it goes like, Libertarians at Large is on live, and I'll like click on it and I'll like get like 3 or 4 minutes in and I'm like, I need to do laundry. Like,
I do too. I think I'll make
if you have like a Google Chrome or something like that, you can cast us to the television and watch us while you fold your laundry
on the big screen.
Yeah, I've actually occasionally done that, but like, yeah, I tend to go with like TV shows when I'm going to be like, oh, I'm folding laundry, I'm going to throw on Mad Men for a bit or something. But maybe I should start.
I'm horrible. I cast everything. Alex is like, I want to just watch regular television. Can we not watch SpaceX or something libertarian for once? And then I'll just move to another television and cast it there. So it's horrible. It's become my addiction.
Yeah. I just realized as we were discussing wholesomeness that like the photos in my movie room are like very wholesome silhouettes of naked women.
Nah.
It's artistic. I mean, hey, it's you go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, they're everywhere.
Yeah, I'm mostly just teasing, but yeah, I do seem to have a lot of photos of naked silhouettes or people smoking pot on my walls. Like it's very much the theme here.
There you go. Hey, if I was sitting in my other seat, you would see Lincoln in fishnets. So yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's actually from an artist in New York. He did a whole bunch of presidential portraits, but did them as 1950s pinups.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's way better than the people that do the thing now where it's like a dog wearing a suit.
Yeah, no. So I have Lincoln in fishnets as a 1950s pinup girl.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Betty Page Lincoln.
Exactly. I need to sit at the other seat, but unfortunately I've got to have the controls because all of that stuff. But
you have to have the book background. Like it's the kind of the libertarian essential. I mean, Valerie and I are just sitting here being like, no, we have stuff behind us, but you guys are like, hey, we have books. I'm well read. I've read all of these books.
I don't know how to read, and so
You know, it's funny. I joke here because like I moved to Los Angeles and like, you know, there's like there's some meme out there that makes some joke about how like you know, if you go to somebody's house to like on a date or something, like if you go to someone's house and they don't have books, don't sleep with them. Like it's like a joke about like making sure that, you know, your sexual partners are well read or something. And it was funny because I the first time I ever came here, it was like Judd and I's like second date, and I ended up like looking around the house, and he doesn't have any books anywhere. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, and I mean, he has beautiful art, and it's beautiful. Like, it's like a very minimalist home. And I was like, what? And then like I went to his room, and he has his and hers walk-in closets, and one of the closets is just filled with his bookshelves. And like, it's like, hi, you're in LA. You like display various like nice things, but like your books hide in the closet. And I like learned that because it's like this minimalist, like not having like clutter and not having like busyness on the walls. And so like it's his philosophy. And then it's so weird because I've kind of adopted a similar thing. And so like all our books are hidden, and I have like one place where books are in the house, and it's a great little library, but it's hilarious because I totally became that person. It was like, no, like the books, they're not monochromatic like the rest of the house. Everything else here is black and white. Like,
so my office has 4 bookshelves. My kitchen has 2. My living room has 2. My bedroom has 1. So almost every room in the entire house has at least 1 bookshelf, and they're all jam-packed with books.
That's how I grew up. Like, I didn't actually know that people had wall art because my family had the Billy bookcases that go from floor to ceiling. And literally, like, the living room was like literally window, bookcase, 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 window, bookcase, 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 bookcase. And then like you go into like the kitchen, and like the kitchen was like, you know, cabinets or whatever. But then the dining room was like bookcase over here, oh, plates, and, you know, like the you know, the China kind of stuff, you know. And then you go, you know, like, you know, movie room. Oh, there's some bookshelves in there. Oh, the upstairs hallway to like get to the bedrooms. Books. Like
I haven't moved into the hallway yet. That's a goal, but not yet.
No, we had like upstairs hallway had tons of books, and so it's very weird for me, like not to have books everywhere.
Samuel Perkins has a pretty good idea though. What he's got behind him.
Yes. He has a fully stocked bar.
Wait, I can do that. Hold on.
Change of scene.
This is the bar area of the.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
We also have some requests to hear about what Feminists for Liberty is doing.
Oh. What are we doing? We're having we actually are working on a video contest right now, which I believe the entries need to be in by May 1st. I just had a total like moment of trying to remember what month it was. I was like, November, no, September, no. Like I just had that for a split second. May 1st. We're doing
this weekend.
Yes, it's like 2 days from now.
Yeah.
So we're doing a video contest thing. And so people can submit. There's like, if you go to feministsforliberty.com, you can see the rules for admission. Like any age, any gender, anybody can do it, and you can do like, you could literally just, you know, like camera phone, like, you know, just record yourself talking about like what is feminism mean to you in a libertarian context, et cetera, et cetera. So there's we had a lot of great entries last year, so we decided to do it again this year. And last year we actually like learned a lot from like some of the videos. Like there was one that was about that was talking about how like war and military occupation in certain areas causes all these issues with them. It was, oh God, like I'm going to mess this up and I'm going to feel really bad that I mess up like the reference to it because it was like a year ago. But it was talking about the children of U.S. soldiers who were stationed in the Philippines and how that was like impacting, you know, the like just those children and their inability to get, you know, like they wanted to, you know, move to America, or they wanted to be part of their father's lives and things like that. And how that impacts it, and how that also like all the women there are impacted by, you know, like men who are like briefly stationed there and then leave. And so that was a really interesting like feminist perspective on how like U.S. occupation of areas and stationing soldiers over there like causes these interesting feminist issues. So it was actually really informative and something that none of us knew that much about. And so yeah, I really liked that. And then somebody did a piece on like the power of the purse and talking about how capitalism allows like women to empower themselves within the market. It was really awesome. So we had some great entries last year. I think we'll have some great entries this year. And so that's what we are up to. We are also doing, there will be a couple of us over at Freedom Fest this year. So if anyone is planning to go to Freedom Fest, we will be there. It's in South Dakota this year, which is new and different. It's a regional airport, so the flights are expensive, but it honestly, like, it's going to be an interesting experience. But Feminists for Liberty, we have a table there. We're going to be doing a main stage panel there. We're going to be talking about feminism and over-criminalization. And so that'll be fun. And yeah, and if anyone watching is considering going to Freedom Fest and would like to register, you can get $50 off by putting in the code Avens50. Avens 50.
Hey, look at that.
I'm very proud of myself for remembering that, because I always forget to tell people, and then they're like, yeah, we gave you a code, and like one person used it. So hey guys, go use it.
There you go. Avens50 if you're going to Freedom Fest.
Yep. $50 off.
That's good.
Yeah.
I am not going.
I might. It's close enough I can even drive.
See, the Freedom Fest has always been in Vegas. So it's always been really easy for me, because it's like a 4-hour drive, and then like I can stay with friends or I can stay in a hotel. Like Vegas is full of hotels. So like you can get just like a really cheap hotel next door to the expensive one. And like, so it's always been like an almost free trip for me. And then I do a bunch of panels. I speak. It's great. Oh, look at that. Thank you. But yeah, so I like that, like, that's always my thing. And then they like this year, they were like, we're going to have it in South Dakota. And I get it. Like they're dealing with the COVID stuff and making sure that like the governor of South Dakota is like, has been all about, like having people, like allowing people to gather in large groups, whatever. And like, and not doing the lockdown stuff. So I get it. Freedom Fest is like, here, let's do this thing. But oh my God, South Dakota. Okay, well, I'm sure it's a lovely state. I'm sure we're gonna have a great time. But like, it totally fucks up the whole like. It used to get like, this was free, and now it's like $500 to get my regional flight in.
Is that at the same time as Sturgis?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's gonna be wild, because that's
no. Sturgis is a little later. So
okay.
I think July 21st to 24th, I think.
Yeah, Sturgis is like a week and a half later. So
gotcha.
Well, it's Sturgis, so people are going.
People will be traveling that way.
Thanks for the fun, Laura.
Oh, so what else do you have going on in California, or what else are you working on, Avens?
Oh well, selling drugs, being a libertarian. No, I mean, for those of you for those who are like watching and don't know, I work in the cannabis space. So I work in the cannabis space, been kind of investing a bit in the legalization efforts for other fun drugs. So, there's been a movement, not just in California, but all around in a lot of different states and cities for, decriminalization of psychedelics and stuff like that. So I've been kind of actively involved in that process, and I've been watching like a lot of people kind of try to like get their foot in the door of like, how am I going to be like if this does get legalized or decriminalized, like how can I, work in that field, or how can I get the products, sell the products, all the things, grow the products. So it's a really interesting space. I kind of find California is an interesting environment of ironically, the government is very bad at facilitating an entrepreneurial mindset anymore, because the government is like, hey, we want to get our hands into your pockets on everything, and it's awful. But when it comes to the people here, like, it's so interesting how entrepreneurial people can get about like, oh, I want to do this really cool thing, and we want to check this out. So there's been this running joke that that we've started using is a term called California sober. And Judd uses it to describe himself, because California sober is typically somebody who does not drink alcohol, but does weed and psychedelics. So it's been this funny thing. And I find California to be a very interesting, like, pioneering place of those kinds of, like, you know, oh yeah, I'm gonna like microdose shrooms and like be the CEO of a tech company. Like that's a thing that people do here, and you know, and like we have friends who are, you know, in investment banking and microdosing acid, and like and then you have like, you know, weird fad diets and like body hacking and life hacking and, you know, all this stuff here. And it's I know people do it elsewhere, but California seems like it's constant, especially in like Los Angeles and San Francisco. Like it feels like every, you know, new restaurant opens up and it's got like 6 different menus of like, hey, are you gluten-free? Are you paleo? Are you keto? Are you vegan? Like we got everything for you. Like, and I kind of love it because it's this kind of environment where you get to just try things out and just maximize your own personal, like whatever your preferences are. And there's just such a diverse collection of it. So but, you know, you can still also, you know, drive over to McDonald's if you want. Everything exists.
And you mentioned shrooms and stuff like that. And that's one of the objects that absolutely fascinate me. Because if you have the mushroom, it's illegal, it's controlled, and it's everything. Mm-hmm. But you can go virtually anywhere. I know it's been on Amazon before, but you can buy the spores.
Yeah.
And the spores are completely unregulated.
Right.
You know, I know Amazon was trying to crack down on it, but for a while there, you could buy psychotropic shroom spores on Amazon, and they're completely uncontrolled, totally legal, and mushrooms are exceptionally easy to grow. Actually, you could also buy a mushroom grow kit on Amazon. And one-stop shop. And
I will say that the most potent strains of mushrooms are not easy to grow. Technically, they seem easy, and then they're really finicky. I've been hearing this from people because, like, I have people in Oregon and stuff who are doing it, and we like chat because I'm like, hey, you know, if this becomes a thing in California, of course I'd love to get in on it. So I want to like know the stuff before it's relevant here. And people are just like, fucking hell, like here's these great strains and they're so good, but like, oh, they're such a bitch to grow and they need to be exactly this temperature and everything needs to be exactly sterile. And it's actually like wild because you're dealing with like spores, and so you're dealing with like needing completely like sterile environments and stuff like that. So it's like, you know, I manage like weed grows here in Los Angeles and or here in California in general. A lot of times they're out of the LA area because of licensing, but but you know, it's so interesting because you got like this plant and you got it in dirt and you have to be careful with its lighting and its watering and the nutrients that are in the water, but it's a way less finicky thing than, you know, having to have like a sterile environment. Like, I mean, it's a plant, the dirt, like no big deal for weed, but shrooms are like, oh, I don't want to grow here. I'm like in the wild, they'll be like, I'm going to grow in like the little dirt in the crack of the concrete. And then like you try to put it in a monotub and it's just like, I don't want to grow. I don't want to do it.
Well, that's like anything else, you know. Things grow where you don't want it to grow, and they refuse to grow where you want it to grow. So.
That's true, but it's really interesting. There's like a whole bunch of weed companies in California that are already getting on this train of like, hey, they'll probably legalize shrooms, and if they do, we want to be on top of this. So, thanks, Brian, for your great pun. But what's interesting is so there's all these companies. There's a company called Cookies, and here in California, Cookies is a weed company, and they have already figured out that they're like, okay, we want to be ready for shrooms when they're legal. And so they have already built facilities to grow massive amounts of shrooms, but they can't legally do so yet. So what they're doing instead is they're growing the kinds of shrooms like lion's mane and reishi and all those like completely legal ones that are supposed to be nootropic and good for your brain or good for your body. And they're already growing those just to use the facility. And then they're like doing things like, hey, CBD or THC with these other things as tablets or food or like, and they're making all these things with the idea that like you can go and you can get caps by Cookies, and it's like it's non-psychedelic mushrooms with your CBD and stuff like that. And so the idea is that as soon as they're legalized or decriminalized here on a massive scale, they're literally just going to move their operation into like psilocybin. Mm-hmm. It's insane.
That's really fun.
Smart.
It's amazing.
But it's really cool. Like I love it. I'm like, yeah, live in the future. It's awesome.
And you say cookies, and then immediately I think of the steakhouse in New York. So, there you go.
There you are. There you
This
are.
is happening in California. Meanwhile, here, cottage cheese is considered a vegetable side dish on menus.
Well, I'm in North Carolina, and ham hock is a vegetable. So,
That's true.
Yeah.
It is funny whenever I'm like, because I'm a vegetarian, and I'm not the kind of vegetarian that's typically going to go out of my way to tell people that I'm a vegetarian, except like this example, right? But like typically, people will be like, hey, you want to go out for food? And in California, it's easy. I'm just like, yeah, wherever you want to go, there will be a vegetarian option for me. But in like when I like speak and photograph at conferences all over the country. Like I'm doing Freedom Fest this year, but like I'll be at LP California in 2 weeks. But I go to conferences, and so like LP Minnesota had me at their conference like years ago, and like I got there, and then they were having the dinner, like the Saturday night dinner or something, and like there was no vegetarian option, and so like the organizers were like, okay, we're gonna figure something out for you. And so they were so thoughtful. They were like, okay, we got to find a restaurant that has a vegetarian option for you. I was like, really? I'll just eat spaghetti. I'll eat a grilled cheese sandwich. I'll eat There's got to be like some I can eat something like that. I'm not that picky. I just just no dead animals, no fish, and they found me in Applebee's, and so like I got like the one vegetarian option at Applebee's combined with like very, very, very cheap and very, very strong margaritas right before my speech. So then I was just like, I was drinking margaritas and they're like, all right, Avens O'Brien is our keynote speaker. And I'm like, all right, everybody, I'm going to talk about why the libertarian movement is awesome, but also really discouraging sometimes. And it's okay.
I was at one libertarian convention, and there was an individual there that was a vegetarian. And they had a vegetarian option on the gala dinner, and everything on the vegetarian option had bacon.
What?
It was a watercress
asparagus and bacon and
everything on the vegetarian option had bacon.
One job.
Was that in Nebraska?
Oh,
this sounds like a Nebraska kind of thing,
right?
We kind of look at people funny. My daughter is vegan, right? And that has become really, she comes down and it's like, okay, I'm going through the cookbook trying to figure out what can she eat.
Lamb.
Thank you, Aunt Wula, from coconut butter and all sorts of things to.
That was going on in the back of my mind is my big fat Greek wedding, and I hadn't gotten it in there. So thanks, Valerie.
That's what I was getting.
You don't eat no meat? What?
We have to kind of deal with that with my grandmother. She's in a home now, but Nick was raised Jewish, and so he doesn't eat any pork. And my grandma, she uses bacon fat to cook a lot of things. And so he was there, and she was like, "You want some green beans?" And I was like, "No, she cooked this with bacon fat." And she was like, "The bacon fat cooks off, though."
It's like the alcohol that cooks off, right?
That's not how.
But we are being reminded that it is a certain time of program here. That we are in our news quiz. And for all of our regular watchers, we're no longer doing the New York Times news quiz. The New York Times news quiz has become very entertainment orientated and doesn't really follow our genre, if we could say. So we're actually moving over to the PBS Washington Week news quiz. So without further ado,
let's see how this goes. Oof.
Well, first of all, it's only 10 questions instead of 11. So
that's good.
Yeah.
It's easier to figure the percentage then.
Yeah, exactly. So select all that apply. A Minnesota jury announced its verdict in the trial of Derek Chauvin on Tuesday. Which of the following charges did the jury find Chauvin guilty of? Now, remember, the new news quiz does come out on Thursdays at 11 p.m. Eastern time. So this is last week's quiz. Yeah. So second-degree murder, none. Second-degree manslaughter or third-degree murder. Select all that apply.
So we had Matt Buffman on last week, and we talked about this, and it's all of them but none, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
What I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Does everyone agree?
I concur.
Sure.
Correct.
Well, we're off to a great start.
Yes.
You know, it's really nice when they have they start the quiz with an upper like that.
The news has not been, good news for a little over a year. I'm not sure if you've been aware.
Oh, good. Tim Hagen agreed with us.
Oh, good.
There you go.
Hey,
Great.
Tim.
But no, I mean, I get it that, that's pretty typical for waiting 8 weeks for sentencing. But personally, I kind of want it to be done now.
Yeah.
That's
Well, and also they opened a nation or department-wide investigation into Louisville, right?
Yep.
Because of Breonna Taylor, finally.
Yep. Louisville is under investigation. Minneapolis is under investigation. Houston is under investigation.
It's too bad the system's investigating itself.
Well,
It's not real.
that is the problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go.
Chicago's already they started their investigation back in January, and Chicago came back with policy and procedure have been followed. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Attorney General Merrick Garland announced the Justice Department would.
Nope.
Oh, there you go. Look at that. We're just a little ahead there.
Yeah.
Minneapolis, Houston, or Boston?
I wonder.
There is only one answer for this particular Attorney General, and I happen to know the answer. Does anyone else know the anscer?
Minneapolis.
I'm assuming it's Minneapolis,
Yeah.
but but the answer should be all of them.
It should. It really should. There's a lot of problems out there.
Mm-hmm.
Policing in America really needs to be changed and evolved. Next question. Ahead of a White House climate summit, President Joe Biden announced that the U.S. will now aim to cut its greenhouse gas emissions at least in half by 2040, 2025, 2030.
I think it was 2030, wasn't it?
That's what I thought.
That's not that long.
No,
I
it's
mean,
not that
usually, it's funny because usually they put it out as far as possible so that they're not actually accountable for it actually happening.
long. Nebraska's legislature today voted. Well, they're getting ready to vote on a resolution that condemns the national government because of all of the impositions. Bottom line is Nebraska's worried about beef, and they're talking about reducing the beef production and.
A lot of this stuff is going to be detrimental to lower income people, including the meat. Ground beef is like dirt cheap. Well, I mean, not right now, it's not, but it's one of the cheaper cuts. And getting rid of gasoline powered cars, nobody. I don't want a hybrid or an electric car, and I don't think that I can technically afford one right now. But how are people who are people are going to have to start relying on public transportation, which is a joke too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And, so people are going to be looking at buying new cars in technologies that they can't afford.
Mm-hmm.
The United States is looking at embracing adding to their power profile, which I absolutely love. I want to see solar and wind and tidal and all of that as part of our energy profile. But battery technology isn't there. Battery technology is sorely lacking. Mm-hmm. The manufacturing capability, the technology for long storage. And if you talk with many battery manufacturers, they won't make the 2030 cut. In reality, the only option for real change is going to be the embracement of nuclear. And we're the only nuclear nation that does not legally allow nuclear recycling. And for a country that is so hung up on recycling, I find it absolutely appalling that we do not allow recycling of spent nuclear material, especially now with German and French technology allowing 97% of spent nuclear material to be reintroduced into a fissible reactor. It's disgusting.
Not to mention how expensive recycling actually is. We're not saving any money, and we're really not saving that much earth by recycling. And now China's not buying any of our plastic either. So,
and nuclear recycling is actually exceptionally cost effective, and actually has the real world solution of not creating additional nuclear waste. And on top of that, with new nuclear fission technology, like saline reactors and stuff, the chances of a nuclear meltdown like Fukushima or Chernobyl or any of the other, 3 Mile Island, which was a near miss, not an actual meltdown, with new saline reactors that are now approved by the Department of Energy, the chances of any type of mishap is virtually nil.
This is very random, but I know a lot of these random things that you just said, but I wish I had them in like a policy paper. So like if you have that kind of stuff, sources, whatever, send it to me, because I will rile up some people with some conversations about nuclear on my Facebook.
Oh, I'm a big nuclear fan. I will definitely be more than happy to steer you in direction of a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm a passive like, hey, yeah, no, nuclear's good, but I'm like not good at articulating why. Like everyone has their issues, like, and it's like cool if I can be like, hey, Eric can talk about nuclear over there. Yep. But I wish I had more of a fluency with the topic myself, and so yeah. It's really unfortunate, by the way, that like in libertarianism, we like, it's like we have potential solutions to all these different problems, but everyone expects all of us to be fluent in all of them. Yeah. Like, and it's so irritating because I'm like, okay, Eric will talk to you about that. I'll talk about the feminism stuff. You talk about that. Like, Valerie will talk about this one. Like, it's just like, but everyone expects perfect fluency with it.
The other thing that also just absolutely irritates me sometimes is that we're very good about talking about our end game and we don't talk about how to get there.
Yeah. True. Step 3, profit.
Yep. That's the other thing. But okay. Yeah, but I believe nuclear is really the only solution to actually meeting the climate change that we're seeing in this country.
There's a really good think tank that is libertarian leaning called PERC, Property Environment Research Center. I just put that in the private chat, Eric. But that's they've got great stuff on a whole lot of issues. So
awesome!
I will definitely have to check that out. I appreciate that. Next question. Select all that apply. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a new law addressing protests. Which of the following provisions are in the law? The law allows prosecutors to bring felony charges against people who encourage protests that become riots. The governor will have the power to override local elected officials if they decrease police budgets. The law provides civil immunity to someone who kills or injures someone involved in a protest that turns violent. Select all that apply.
I do not know.
I mean, they all sound awful. And so it's like I wouldn't put it past them for it to be all of it. I feel like I saw something about point number 1, and I can't remember if I saw the other 2 points. And I also know other cities or states have been passing stuff like this, so I don't remember which one is which. But
Florida actually forwarded me this bill because they know from watching this.
Did you study this ahead of time, Eric? I'm feeling very.
Well, this is. Laura will tell you that I read federal legislation as a pastime, and I actually travel with federal legislation.
And that's why you're an LNC at large, and I'm not.
Well, I guess so. But so
But
people
Valerie
who
and I
watch
don't.
the show know that I'm a geek for legislation. So someone about 2 weeks ago, before this actually crossed the governor's desk, when it was still in the Florida Assembly, sent me a copy of this bill. It's all of them.
Oh, geez.
Is it?
It's all of them.
I
What
mean,
a weird place.
It gives the governor a lot of power. This gives the governor the ability to actually, if the governor's not happy with how a chief of police is actually handling riots, it is now within the governor's purview to replace that chief of police.
So, random. Here in California, we're currently dealing with a recall election, which is rad. I fucking love that California has recall elections for governors, like not infrequently. I wish we had them more frequently, but it means that a bunch of people are running for office, including Caitlyn Jenner, which is fun. But it's one of those things I'm not in a space where I feel like running for governor right now. And the LP will probably have a candidate that's going to be great. And I don't want to get in the way of that at all. But sometimes I fantasize about running for governor of California just to run on the attack the left from the left and the right from the right in terms of budgetary consciousness and also police reform. Because I joke that the kinds of police reform stuff that I would actually try to get I would run on and I'd be like, this is what the California governor needs to do. I feel like I would the entire city of Oakland would vote for me. You know what I mean? I think about this and I'm just yeah, I'd get the leftists over here. But one of the things that I make my wish list of crazy proposals that I would run as I would run for governor just to show people what it could mean, not that I would win, but just to show people what it could mean. And one of the pieces that I would include is on our thing of police brutality is that if a prosecutor or DA appeared to be being lenient on a police officer during the trial, during the grand jury, trial, whatever, is that the governor's office could charge them with obstruction of justice. And basically just that's my fantasy is no, let's just make it very clear that the DAs and the judicial system, if the governor's office does not feel that this is that this is actually this system is working, then we will bring in new kinds of things charges of we will replace DAs or we will charge them with obstruction of justice. I don't know how it would work exactly, but it's this fantasy of this is the kind of stuff I would say. And just it would get headlines, it would get interest, and it's no, it's holding the
Looks
system.
you have a supporter.
Thanks, Jared.
So Brian asked a question, and Brian, should police officers or police stations carry insurance if they get sued? We talked a little bit about that last week with Matt Buffman. So you might go back and look at that, but the bottom line is, I think that we all agree that that rather than having qualified immunity, let them carry malpractice insurance. And that way the market helps to take care of some of these problems. If they can't get malpractice insurance, they don't get to they don't get to be hired.
Yep.
Yeah, it totally aligns. I'm all about I like to talk about when it comes to the progression of how you move from a less free society to a more free society. One of my biggest things is recognizing that incentives need to be aligned, and malpractice insurance or liability insurance is one of those major aligning incentives. It's we want a cop to have to get liability insurance, and their premiums be nice and low if they're not an asshole. But it means that someone like Derek Chauvin he had 18 claims against him. That man would have he would no longer have been covered by his malpractice insurance. His malpractice insurance would have been nope, sorry, we're not insuring you anymore.
He would have been the 19-year-old guy who's had 18 accidents in his first 3 years of life of driving a car. I mean, they just drop him, and then you're in trouble. So
right.
Yeah.
You need a rider and you need the general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, we've been distracting from the quiz, Eric. I apologize.
No. I actually no. The conversation around each question is key. That's what makes the quiz fun.
Yeah. That's how we show people like this is actually a libertarian thing that we need to talk about and why and how. So
Yeah.
this one's a lot better than the New York Times.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And the pictures are better.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
I mean, I could do better, but you know.
Yeah.
The Biden administration is considering a regulation change that would reduce the legal amount of cannabis. States could allow people to possess nicotine in cigarettes or lead allowed in tap water.
Today or yesterday was the menthol cigarette thing. So
I feel like there's been like a cigarette thing going on. So I want to say option number 2, but I feel like I would have noticed number 1 because but I could be wrong. I could be totally like ignorant because I haven't been paying attention this week.
Jared also says nicotine.
Yeah, I think
I'm not 100% sure.
I think it is.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey.
Nicotine in cigarettes. The Biden administration is considering enforcing a new requirement for tobacco companies to reduce the amount of nicotine in cigarettes to a point where they would no longer be addictive. Wall Street Journal reports the proposal is being considered alongside a ban on menthol cigarettes. The FDA is required to respond to a citizen's petition to ban menthols by April 29th, and the nicotine regulation is among the responses being considered.
That's insane.
I love how like the whole country is starting to get that prohibition's a bad idea when it comes to weed. But while we're at it, let's also let's prohibit a completely another substance. Like the fuck. Sorry.
And maybe if they hadn't spent like 20 years saying cigarettes aren't bad for you, people wouldn't have been smoking them so much. I don't know. Like you want to have a skinny baby, smoke while you're pregnant, and now it's like, oh, we better stop people from smoking. The government will come in and save you. Like you already messed everything up.
Yeah. Well. I'm not in favor of this or support this.
No, who would be?
This is ridiculous.
Like, I don't like cigarettes. Cigarettes are gross, but like, go do your gross cigarette thing if that's what you want to do. And like, let's not make it prohibit because like we know what prohibition does to this shit. Like we know. Like, come on. Like.
Oh, and come on, let's be honest. There's a lot of great work that gets done at the Smokers Caucus at every single libertarian convention.
Next question.
Select all that apply to former Vice President and Democratic presidential nominee Walter Mondale, who died on Monday at 93. Which of these facts is about Mondale is true?
I have to get close to read.
He was the first vice president with full access to intelligence briefings. He was the first major party presidential candidate to pick a female running mate. And he lost every single state running for president against Ronald Reagan in 1984.
Yeah, he won Minnesota, I think. So
yeah, I know he won.
So it was the
he won a
first
few
two
states, not many, but he won a few in 1984.
I think he only won his home state.
Was that it?
I think.
Okay.
He might have won Massachusetts, but I'm not. I don't know. But I think he was the first president who had full access to the intelligence briefings. He was sort of the first really modern vice president. Yeah. And he was also the first major party candidate.
I think.
Yeah, and didn't he have the first female running?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Geraldine Ferraro.
Yeah, and I do like that they say major party, and they acknowledge that the Libertarian Party actually did it first.
Yeah.
Constantly.
That's why I like PBS. Okay. Yes, and we are right. We got the two that are correct.
Okay.
Good job. I always get him confused with Barry Goldwater. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me how.
Yeah, no, he won Minnesota and Washington, D.C. That was it.
Wow.
That's a landslide.
That's
a landslide.
That's embarrassing.
And that's the one that's the election when Reagan did his, I won't make a point of exploiting, of exploiting my opponent's youth and inexperience.
Yep.
You know,
Because he brought it up during the debate that, you know, are you too old to be, you know,
Yeah.
age and a factor for you running for president?
Yeah.
And that was his response, and that was probably one of the best responses
it's a
ever.
great line.
Oh,
They planned it for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What did Washington, D.C.'s chief medical examiner say was the cause of death of Officer Brian Sicknick, who died the day after the Capitol insurrection?
I heard this. Oh, it was natural causes.
It was it was stroke, so it was a stroke. Yeah.
That's correct. It's very sad that he passed.
Yeah.
And there were no evidence of allergic reaction, internal or external injuries. So, yeah.
Huh.
And the initial report saying that he was hit by a fire extinguisher was later proven untrue.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad he wasn't murdered.
No, that's very true. What action did a federal judge order the city of Los Angeles to do or to undertake by October 18th? Avens, I think you're right up your alley. Lift all public health restrictions on religious gatherings, offer housing to all homeless people living on the city's Skid Row, or provide internet access for every public school student.
And who ordered the city of Los Angeles to do this?
A
Federal judge
ordered the city of Los Angeles to undertake by October 18th.
Huh. I would love to see them attempt to offer housing to all homeless people living on the city's Skid Row, because holy shit. Yeah, we really appreciate all the other states in the country send literally their homeless eradication program is to literally just give their homeless people bus tickets to Los Angeles so that they can just live on our streets. Thanks.
Well, New York doesn't. New York sends them to North Carolina.
Yeah, no, the East Coast tends to send them onto the East Coast stuff, and then the West Coast, but the West Coast in the middle of the country is just yo, let's just send to LA because we have showers on the beach, we have large space. Anyway, this is distracting from me not knowing the answer to this question. I feel like there's probably still public health restrictions on religious gatherings. So, but it's also very much LA's kind of thing to say that they need to provide internet access for every public school student. So I have no freaking clue. Does anyone have any guesses? Well, I'm guessing it's not number 2.
I mean, by October 18th, I don't. There shouldn't be any restrictions on religious gatherings anyway. Aren't you guys opening up pretty quickly here?
Yeah, I mean we are, but they're still doing the whole. Well, I mean. We're mostly open. I mean, we finally got our amusement parks back open, so we're very happy about that. But
and
yeah,
for some, that is a religious gathering. So
I worship at Moe's Tavern of Springfield land of Universal Studios theme park.
And there are many who bow at the altar of the ears.
Yeah. I want to go with number 3, but I could be completely wrong about that.
I would agree.
So we're going to go with provide internet access for every public school student.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a federal judge. No.
Incorrect.
Really? It's the Skid Row? What? Wow. How?
Must offer housing to all homeless people living on the city's Skid Row by October 18th.
That's just probably them driving through with a bullhorn saying, "Do you want to live in a place?"
A group of residents and community leaders filed a federal lawsuit against the city's tents and temporary shelters, falling short in addressing homelessness. The city now has 180 days to offer a residence to every resident of Skid Row, one of the nation's largest concentrations of homeless people.
I guess I should have expected that it would be the complete impossibility of that. Because what they're gonna shelters? What are they gonna do here? Because I'm sorry, I'm completely. It's weird because I see it in the Nextdoor because I have the app Nextdoor here in Los Angeles, and And it's really like the struggle of Los Angelinos in terms of like, you know, like we want to help the homeless people, but I'm really tired of the homeless people sleeping on my steps. And like, you know, just the kind of like back and forth of them trying to figure out like, how do we solve this problem? And like, and being completely ignorant of like the policy that's creating this problem. You know, it's just like San Francisco at this point. It's not just like San Francisco. There's at least space. we at least have room.
So Chad's president, Idris Deby, or I can't say his last name right now, died this week at 68 after over 30 years of autocratic rule. What was Deby's cause of death? Militants shot him after he visited troops who were fighting rebels, fatal injuries from a plane crash, or he contracted COVID-19 after saying the virus was a hoax.
Oh,
I feel like it was number 3. Like
Yeah.
I thought I heard about that in the news earlier than last week, but it seems like a familiar headline.
I agree.
No.
What? Oh, some other leader. Oh.
He died after visiting troops. He was
All right,
shot-
I'm full of shit, guys. I'm not guessing on any of these anymore.
I think
No,
we only got one more, so that's good.
Yeah. Archaeologists in Maryland found the remains of an early home of which abolitionist icon? Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, or Sojourner Truth?
I don't know. Somebody else guess, because I am not
Frederick
lucky.
Douglass lived in Massachusetts, so I can tell you it's not Frederick Douglass because this is in Maryland. I don't know if Harriet Tubman or Sojourner Truth lived in Maryland.
I want to say Sojourner Truth, but I don't know why.
I don't know. I thought I saw something about Harriet Tubman, but I also thought I saw that guy died from COVID. So I'm seeing
Yeah.
things.
Wait, somebody died of COVID after saying it was a hoax. Was
Yeah,
that?
it was an African dictator.
Oh, they fucked with us, man. Like that was like that. They did a switcheroo on us.
Yeah.
Sorry. I have no idea.
Are we saying
No.
Harriet or Sojourner?
Tubman, Harriet Tubman. That's what John says.
I'm going with Laura. What Laura said.
I don't know. There we go.
Yay!
Yay! And this is accelerating plans to put Tubman on the $20 bill.
Oh, good.
I'm into that.
We have a stamp for our 20s.
Yeah.
I should do that.
So we
Yeah,
got an 80%.
I'm sorry. I'm the reason we got 80%, and I'm like those 2 wrong ones. I take responsibility for my failures as a leader.
This is the highest score we've ever gotten on this news quiz. So
Really?
That's right. Yeah.
This is the first week we're taking this news quiz,
This is
too.
the first time.
This provides a nice baseline for us.
There you go.
Yeah.
You have set the mark. There you go.
Wow. I just kind of assumed we'd all do better than that. I don't know. I was the very few times I was in school. When I was in college, I was a straight A student. So I don't understand getting questions wrong.
But I have to say, Apple Ducky does also agree with us that
Yeah.
this is so much better than the New York Times quiz. So, yep.
Hello, Apple Ducky. I like your name.
But no, this one's definitely going to stick around. It's a lot more germane to our show and to who we are. So.
I mean, I'm just saying, as a Los Angelino, I'd probably do very well on the entertainment quiz, like the New York Times entertainment quiz.
Over one week too early.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go take the entertainment quiz from the New York Times. I'll just do it on my own thing over on my Facebook and see how it goes.
So that kind of brings us back to the end of the show. Do we have any announcements or anything that we've got going on in the next week or two that we want to share with everyone?
Can I say the affiliate in a box contest ended, 2 weeks ago. I am still waiting on one of my committee members to give me their grading scale so we can pick a winner. I would love to tell everybody who the winner is, but I am obligated by myself only, I guess, to wait for the last score to get in. And then we will give out that money and get busy.
Money.
Eric and I are going to be in the Little Apple this weekend.
Yes, we are going
Manhattan,
to be in
Kansas.
Manhattan, Kansas. Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you are in the Kansas area and would like to come to Manhattan, Kansas for the state convention of Kansas, yes, you will get to see me and Laura at the show. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
At the show.
At the show, exactly. Because every libertarian convention is a show.
And Nevada's this weekend. Nevada?
Yeah, Nevada is this weekend.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I won't be at that one. They're having their pre-convention meeting actually during this show, and so yeah, their convention actually starts on Thursday.
Nevada.
That's how you.
You say Nevada, I say Nevada.
Yeah, I say Nevada.
I lived in Nevada, and I say Nevada. I know I'm wrong, but I lived there for 2 years, and that's what I say.
And Samuel Perkins also brings up that Pennsylvania is going to be May 14th to the 16th.
It's the same weekend as California's.
And I will be in Pennsylvania. So unfortunately, I will be missing you. But I will be at the Pennsylvania convention. It's in Pittsburgh. Looking very much forward to that one as well. So
I will be there also in Pennsylvania.
Yes, actually, yeah. So in 2 weeks, Valerie and I will be
the show.
Yeah, and we'll be the show there. Exactly. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Nick and the kids are coming to that one too, right?
Yes.
There you
the
go.
whole family.
So yeah, so it's 2 weeks to the California convention, and I'm sure Avens, you're going to be there.
Yep, I'll be at the California convention. And for those watching who might be there, I will have my camera. I will be taking photos. And as I like to say, with my photos, I take them for free. I show up at the conventions. I take the photos. People often donate for use of them, but I don't want people to not get good photos just because they can't pay. So I always, just donations are optional. But for me, it's interesting because my philosophy on this is basically that libertarians have good ideas and sometimes they're really badly packaged, and I want to help in at least one way, and one way is to improve your packaging. And so you guys as people running for office, as people any opportunity that you're going to have your photo somewhere, I want to make sure that it's a good photo, that you look good, and that I bring out the best side of you. There are photographers who document events. I do not document events. I am here to glorify you and what you're doing. And so that is what that's the philosophy I bring to how I photograph. And so please, anyone goes, oh, could I get a photo? Yes, you can get a photo. I want you to look good. That's what I'm here for. That is my biggest contribution to the party. And I've done a lot of shit for the party, but that is my biggest contribution to the party.
Yeah, and you always have a very easy donation link. So if you do get some photos from Avens, and you do have the financial ability, make sure that you support her, because that means that she can go to more conventions and do this for more libertarians around the country.
This is so true.
So that's huge, and that's why every single time I get photos from you at every single national convention, I always make sure to give the best donation that I can.
I appreciate that. And I mean, the thing is, some people go, hey, I have $5. And I go, $5 is cool. But, somebody will randomly be like, you do so much. Here's $500. I'm like, whoa, thank you. So every little bit helps. It all comes together. People, the spirit of giving is great. And yeah. And I mean, the other thing that people can do if they don't have the money to donate, or they want to do things that support my work, I might as well use the little, hey, what am I doing? My website is avens.me. That's avens.me. And I have my blog. I have a Substack that I recently started, which has free subscriptions and paid subscriptions for people who are interested in either, where I write about culture and politics. And there are lots of follow me on the internet and improve my algorithms by commenting on my shit. Whatever you do, that's all good. That all helps. And so, if people want to support and want to do something to help me help you, that's what to do. Also, when I give you advice about how to pose in a photograph, take it.
Yes.
Help me help you. It means it just you do that.
But on that note, everyone have a great night. Thank you to everyone who came on the show tonight. Avens, thank you so much for coming on. And to all our watchers and our listeners, thank you, because you're the ones who make the algorithms sing on Facebook and YouTube, and why we get so much of a reach. So thank you as well. And everyone, have a great night. We'll see you next week for another episode of Libertarians at Large.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
night.
Bye. Good night.